Okay, so our discussion will be related to the logical and Boolean manipulation instructions. Um, so we will be discussing everything with respect to MCS 51. You must remember MCS 51 is the category of microcontrollers uh, by Intel Corporation. So you should not be getting confused with MCS 51. So wherever you see this particular nomenclature or terminology, this you must remember it is related to embedded systems microcontrollers. Okay, now what are the different logical operations that are possible in case of MCS 51? It is possible to have logical operations both in byte and bit variables. So we will be concentrating today on the byte variables, and if possible I will take it up tomorrow morning, the next part of this. Now out of 10 mnemonics, provisions are there for important logical operations such as AND, OR, exclusive OR, and for complementing the operands. So these are the various that are included under this. So instructions are also available for rotating the accumulator, the content of accumulator circularly or through the PSW, that is the through the carry flags. And there is also a special provision for swapping the nibbles of the accumulator using the swap instructions. So these are the added instructions and certain advanced instructions over microprocessor 8085. See, microprocessor 8085 and the microcontroller 8051 are more or less in similar fashion, but this one follows the Harvard architecture where we have a program memory and a data memory separate. But in case of 8085, we were following the von Neumann architecture where the program code and the operands reside in the same memory module. Now let's move on to the logical instructions that are possible. In this case we have logical AND operations, we have logical OR operations, we have logical exclusive OR operations, we have clear accumulator operation, we have complement accumulator, we have rotate accumulator left, rotate accumulator left through carry, rotate accumulator right through carry, and we have swap instruction. Well, I will take up the swap instruction in the next class, but let us move on with the others. And if we talk about the ANL, that is the logical ANDing portion of it, here we can see we have different type of instructions that are possible under this. We have register direct type of instructions. We all know that in register direct type of instructions we can specify the direct address of the SFRs, that are the special function registers, and using that we can transfer the data or operate on the data using the instruction that we are going to the instructions that we are going to use. Now in case of ANLA direct, here again the logical AND of accumulator is getting ANDed with content of the direct address being provided here. So these are the various instructions that are possible under ANDing, and we will take up only few examples of it, and we will similarly take up the examples with others also, so that we can cover all the register direct, register indirect, immediate, and register direct and immediate type of addressing modes with the help of other logical instructions also. So in this case what we will do is we will first take up the logical ANDing with a suitable example. So in this case we are considering ANLA comma B. Now in the diagram you can see that that the operational code of this particular is given as 55x. So that has been loaded here across the program memory across 01 FD followed by F0. So followed by F0 here means that it is the direct address of register B. Okay, so initially it has been assumed that the register A and register B are having 57 and A9 respectively, and after the AND operation the accumulator will be having 01. Fine. So initially the accumulator was having 57 in it, and the register B whose direct address has been specified here, F0, so that is having A9, so it gets ANDed and the data gets stored here. So this is the example of ANL A comma B. Now the opposite, if we think about the opposite, again here we are considering the values, the initial values in A as 57 and B as A9. So again, when we are going for logical operation, here you can see we have the operational code given as 52 and we have given the direct address F0, but in this case what happens is the content of accumulator now is getting ANDed with the previous content of register B, and now the data or the result is being saved in register B, not in accumulator. Fine. So when you see this, you have to look into the destination and the source. Here we have D comma S, that is the destination comma the source. Similarly, here we again have destination comma source. So source is accumulator and destination is register B. So by default, if we use this particular instruction, what will happen is the initial value of register B gets ANDed with the content of register A, but now the register A content is not getting overwritten, rather the content of register B gets overwritten. Okay, now let's move on to ORL. This is the ORing logical operation, and the possibilities of this are the varieties of instructions which were possible in case of ANDing instructions are same in the case of ORing instructions, but the operational code here is 4B hex, and now we will see how the other operations are carried out using ORL. So in case of this, we have say ORLA comma R3. Now its operational code is 4B. Now assuming that the initially the accumulator content is 57 and the register bank which is considered as the by default 0, the register considered here is R3, and again it is containing the value A9. So as a result of FF would be available in the accumulator after the execution of this particular instruction. So what is happening is the content which is saved in the register bank 0R3, this is R3 register and the content is A9. Now it is the source and it is getting ORed with the content of accumulator, and now the value is being saved in accumulator itself. You have to again see that we are considering A comma R3, where A is the destination register and R3 is the source register. Okay, now let's move on to XRL instruction. It is actually the exclusive OR operation instructions. Again, like ANL and ORL, we have these 6 variations available in exclusive OR operations. So now if we consider, see, we have in earlier examples we have considered this two, okay, the first two, Now we are considering register indirect for XRL operations. The operations remains the same in case of ANL as well as ORL. What I am doing is I am taking up one by one instruction and trying to relate with the addressing modes. So now what we are going to see here is XRL A comma @R1. We definitely know from our previous discussions that @R1 is only possible for the register bank hash 0, R0 and R1. So what I am considering here is @R1. So here the example says that the operational code of this particular instruction is 67, and in this case again we are considering accumulator content as 57, and before the operation the register R1 content was 30, but that 30 means it is the address of the actual content, which is across 30, which is nothing but A9. So execution of this will provide us a value FE in the accumulator. So what is happening is, in this particular instruction, the source comes from the register indirect type of addressing. That means R1 @R1 is basically the register R1 of hash 0 bank registers, and there we have a value 30, which actually means the address of the actual content, and the actual content is A9, and this particular A9 will now get exclusively ORed with 57, which was the previous value of accumulator, and the value of accumulator will be rewritten with the result FE. Okay, so now let's move on to the next type of an instruction. Here we can see it is the CLR instruction. The CLR instruction is again a 1 byte, and it's a 1 cycle instruction, and it clears the content of the accumulator, and here none of the flags get affected. And in this particular instruction, after the execution of this, what happens is the content of register A is cleared, and the operational code here given is E4. So whenever this particular instruction operational code, which is written across 01 FD, gets executed, what happens is the content, the previous content of accumulator will get erased, or it will be converted into 0. So this actually clears the content of the accumulator. Again, remember we had also studied this in the case of 8085, where we used to have a single instruction, logical instruction, to clear the content of accumulator, that was XRA. The content of accumulator was XORed with the content of accumulator itself, and the content was saved in accumulator. So that was the technique we used in 8085, and but in this case we have a instruction which can directly clear the content of accumulator. These are very important. This can be used to clear the content of accumulator, which may be very important in case when you are writing certain programs, because accumulator of this microcontroller is MCS51 is involved in many operations, internal operations. Okay, so now let's move on to the CPL instruction. In the CPL instruction, it is actually the complementing. It is another logical instruction which is applicable on accumulator through register direct addressing mode. In this case, if we consider the instruction CPLA, where the operational code is F4 hex. Now before this particular instruction is executed, if we assume the content of accumulator as 4D hex, so after the execution of this, what will happen is it will get this will get ones complemented. That means zeros will be changed to 1, 1 will be changed to 0. So if the previous content is 4BH in accumulator, it will get changed to B2 hex. And after completion of this, we can say that we have achieved ones complement on 8-bit data inside accumulator. Now again, if you remember that in our previous discussions and our previous examples, when we used to go for 2's complement, what was our main motto? Our main motto was to complement the content of accumulator and increment it by 1. So after this particular instruction, that is CPLA, if I go for INCA, I will actually be doing an operation which is nothing but 2's complement. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part, where we are actually going to understand the rotation. So here RLC, again RLC, RRC, all these instructions look very similar with respect to 8085, but here it is with respect to 8051, which is a microcontroller. So in this case, the RLC instructions, it's very similar to previous instructions. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, with only difference in case of previously understood instructions, is that if we consider this particular example where we have RLCA, which operational code 33. In this case, what happens is, in this case, the data inside the accumulator gets rotated towards left, but it is rotated through the carry flag in the PSW. Okay, so whatever, so if there is a the most significant bit which is there inside the accumulator will be pushed to the carry flag, and the carry flag content will be pushed to the least significant side of the register A. And the more you go with RLC instructions, if you push this into a loop, then you will be able to rotate the bits one by one towards the left and through the carry. Okay, so well, this doesn't happen with simple RL. In case of RL instruction, it is only that the rotation possible between the register, the content itself. It is not with the carry flag. Okay, and in this case, no other flags except the carry flag gets affected. Fine. Now let's this is what I was talking about. This RL I was talking about. In this case, if I call RLA, which the opcode is 23, now see, there is no relation between the PSW and the content of the register A. Here the 8-bit content of register A gets rotated by 1 towards the left, and the content gets rotated inside the accumulator A. So if you again push this particular instruction into a loop, you will be able to rotate the data towards the left, which is inside the register A. Again, none of the other flags get affected, including the carry flag. Okay, now let's take up the other thing. It is thus the reverse of rotate left. Here it is rotate right. So if it is RRA, then the operational code is 03 hex. Now the content of register A will just rotate on the right hand side by 1 bit, and if you again put this into a loop, you will be able to shift the bits the many times you want. Okay, so a simple example, if you take 4DH, which is 0100, which is 4, and D is 1101. Here the B means we are considering the bit, the binary values. So the binary value here is 0100, 1101 of the nibbles, So this is 4D hex in hex. Now if we shift this towards right, what you will get is 1010 and 0110. That means the rightmost, that is the least significant bit 1, will be pushed into the most significant bit, and other bits will be shifted towards right by 1 bit position. So what you get, the new value is 1010 0110, which is nothing but A6 hex. Now let's see the other one. Again, in this case, it is the rotation of data, but now it is through the carry flag. So through the carry flag of the PSW register, and in this case again the data will rotate through the carry flag. The content of the carry flag after just one rotation will enter into the most significant bit of the accumulator register position, and then the other bits will be shifted by one. And again, if you put this in a loop, you will be able to rotate the data on the right hand side, provided it is rotated through the carry flag. So again, we have to remember one thing, this can only change the content of carry flag, none other flags get affected. So it is just the reverse of RLC. Okay, so this was the content of today's lecture. We had discussed the logical operation of MCS 51, which is related only to the byte system of it. And in the next lecture, what we will see, how we can use the SFRs for bit manipulation and for bit jump instructions, that is the Boolean conditional jump instructions, along with certain advanced instructions which will at least complete all the instruction part of MCS 51.